just to follow up on the war, you last week denied that the president said he was not taking Americans' financial situations into consideration.
To what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit.
He was asked about that again. He stood by it, called it a perfect statement, and said he would make it again.
The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all.
That's right. That's a perfect statement. I'd make it again.
Do you believe that Americans' financial situations should be taken into consideration when you're making decisions as an administration about the war?
See, Kaitlan, what you did is you misrepresented the question that I was asked.
This administration cut $1 trillion of your health care, $500 billion of your food assistance, spent that money on tax cuts for the wealthy, then wasted $1 billion a day, again, of your taxpayer dollars on a war in Iran, which caused gas prices to rise, grocery prices to rise, and everything else. It could not be clearer that you are not the priority when they make decisions. But just in case it hasn't totally sunk in, Trump went ahead and told you straight up he does not think about your financial situation. But let's get back to what this press conference was actually about.
Anyone who assaulted a police officer on January 6th should go to prison. So why not rule out giving them taxpayer-funded money?
Well, Kaitlan, what I said is we're going to look at everything case by case.
But why not rule it out?
Because, Kaitlan, there are people who I don't know their individual circumstances, and I don't rule things out categorically when I know nothing about a person's individual circumstances.
JD Vance is so unbelievably spineless, it's honestly just embarrassing to watch these clips. You can't believe a word out of his mouth because 30 seconds later he will lie and said he never said something if it means keeping Trump happy. Let's not forget this is the same guy that questioned whether Trump was America's Hitler and is now doing his bidding, whatever he wants. So yeah, not surprising that at one point he said that the January 6th insurrectionists should go to jail, but is now saying he won't rule out giving your taxpayer dollars. And I don't want this to get lost because at the end of the day, these are your taxpayer dollars that we're talking about. He won't rule out giving that to people who beat police officers with flagpoles. It's interesting who he chooses to have sympathy for. Would he have the same sympathy for someone who broke the law by, say, overstaying their visa? Probably not.
We're trying to give money, not give money, we're trying to compensate people where the book was thrown at them, they were mistreated by the legal system. Let's turn the page on this thing that we did under the last administration where we tried to throw people in prison because they had the wrong politics. Let's throw people in prison who broke the law.
When somebody steals $1.4 billion from the Medicaid program, that is theft from you, and that's theft from people who deserve to be able to go see a doctor.
I want to be specific about what the January 6th insurrectionists were convicted of, which is beating officers with flagpoles, fire extinguishers, and their own batons, crushing a cop in a door, zip ties, pipe bombs, smashing windows and dragging people through them. At the end of all of this, 140 police officers were injured. So these are not convictions for the wrong politics. These are actual laws that were broken. Which brings us to that other clip of Vance, because I want you to hold two things in your head at once. JD Vance is outraged, calling Medicaid fraud stealing from you. Okay, so is a $1.8 billion slush fund made up of your taxpayer dollars that you didn't agree to? Is that stealing from you? Or what about when the Trump administration cut $1 trillion for Medicaid? Was that stealing from you? Because by JD Vance's own words, yes, it is. It's funny that JD Vance says he wants to turn the page on the last administration. How about turning the page from Trump's previous term? The January 6th insurrection happened in 2021, 5 years ago. We have plenty of other problems right now. People can't afford groceries. It costs $70 to fill up your gas tank. We're spending billions of dollars of taxpayer money on a war abroad. Inflation is up, the deficit is up. I could go on and on and on. And why are we not focusing on any of these things? How could the Trump administration's priority possibly be an event from half a decade ago?
Hey, Republicans, listen, you have all-time low approval ratings. You are getting wiped out by Democrats in every poll that's coming out. And you're blindly going along with a Marie Antoinette ballroom that these taxpayers who can't afford groceries are going to have to fund with their own tax dollars. A war that keeps going on and on and on and on that they're going to have to fund even though they can't afford to put gas in their car. And you've got $1 billion plus slush fund that I guarantee you will go if the past is prologue to people who beat the hell out of cops. For people who beat the hell out of cops. Take your support the blue flags down, because you're just full of it.
Imagine being a cop on January 6th, watching your colleagues get dragged down the stairs and crushed indoors, and now you're watching the administration fund, with your own taxpayer dollars, a compensation fund for them.
Harry Dunn, a retired former U.S. Capitol Police officer, as well as Daniel Hodges, who's an active Metropolitan Police Department officer here in the district, have sued in D.C. federal court, claiming that this fund and its creation are illegal and would only pay out people like the January 6th convicts, I should say, who were later pardoned by President Trump. And they're seeking to block the creation of this fund, reverse any transfer that has been made so far from the Department of Treasury to the DOJ to start implementing this fund, as well as put any kind of future funds aside and out of play.
Do you see how this all ties together? How Trump has shown you over and over again that he does not care about you, he does not care about your finances, he does not care about how he spends your taxpayer dollars. We had a war in Iran, funded by your taxpayer money. We had tax cuts for the rich, funded by cuts to your Medicaid and your food assistance. We now have a slush fund for people who broke the law trying to overturn the election and beat up Capitol police officers, again, funded by your taxpayer dollars. $1.7 billion of your taxpayer money, while Medicaid gets cut by $1 trillion, your food assistance gets cut by $500 billion, while inflation is up, gas prices are up, grocery prices are up, housing costs are up. This is what the administration is focused on. This is priority number one for them to spend your tax money on. I started this video with a clip of Trump saying he doesn't think about Americans' financial situation, and that's also where I'm gonna end it. Of all the ways to spend your money, of all of the ways that he could actually improve your life, this is how